for joining me.
Thank you.
So, so Daje, am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
And the lovely lady to your right, how should I refer to her?
Natalie is fine.
Natalie. Okay, excellent. And I'm Lionel. Well, Daje, once again, congratulations. As you know, you're one of the top essayists in the 2020 Baldwin Prize. So I hope that feels good.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So but we have a different topic and prompt every year, and this is only the second year when we asked every student, instead of just writing something from their own heart or mind, to interview someone else and to really work with someone else's story. And this year's theme was compassion. You asked the interviewee about a moment when they felt really cared for. So, Daje, to start with you, when you saw that assignment, what were some of your first thoughts? Did it sound like, oh, that'd be pretty easy to do, pretty hard, or what?
So when my teacher first presented the prompt to me, I wasn't really sure where I actually wanted to hit, because originally I wanted to do the prompt from just my interviewees like perspective. I didn't want to add my thoughts into it. But then after hearing the story, I felt like it would be a better fit to also add my input, because I guess that played a big part. So.
Nice. And Natalie, when Daje told you about this assignment, what were some of your first thoughts? Were you happy to talk to her, a little apprehensive?
I was a little apprehensive, and more so because I'm more of the person always giving. It's not often that something so big is given to me. So at first I'm like, well, shoot, what the heck I'm supposed to write? What do you want me to say? Like, what are we going to talk about? But then this came to mind, so it worked out perfectly.
Nice. Well, Daje, if you don't mind, could you go ahead and read the essay, and then we'll talk a bit more after that.
Okay. So this is my essay. So I said, to have compassion or to be compassionate to someone means to be sympathetic and concerned for the misfortunes of others. I interviewed my mother to learn about a time where she was shown compassion from someone else. I chose my mother because I know that life has not been easy for her, and I was interested to see an important moment where kindness was shown to her. Below is her story. My mother, Natalie, was born and raised in the city of Baltimore, so she has not been a stranger to the violence that this city holds. However, she never could have predicted that someone she loved would be a victim to the ongoing violence in this city. She never would have thought that it would hit this close to home. Antoine and her met in the year of 2002 and welcomed my little brother Antoine in 2004. They had a long journey of 10 plus years together, but they grew apart and ended their relationship a couple years ago. Though they were no longer in a relationship, they shared a bond and raised their son together. On October 11th, 2019, Antoine's car was shot approximately 10 times. 5 bullets pierced his skin, and he passed away on October 12th, 2019. My mother couldn't explain how she felt, from seeing him laying in the hospital bed, holding his hand as he took his last breath, or him laying in the casket. She honestly still can't explain how she feels about her son's father being gone. Thanks, Mom. Okay. Anton being gone not only left us all distraught, but it was also difficult because it left her without the support and the extra help. For example, on certain days, he would take my brother to football practice or basketball practice. Now she has no one to share that responsibility with. One of the biggest obstacles was paying her son's tuition because he attends a Catholic high school, which means it isn't cheap. The tuition is $330 a month. Her and Antoine went half for August. My mom paid for the month of September, and Antoine was supposed to pay October. About a week after his death, my mother was sitting in White's parking lot because she stopped there on her way to work. She was talking to a friend, and she was asking how my mother was holding up. This particular friend is also a coworker, and she would always joke around and say how my brother would marry her daughter one day because she wants her son-in-law to be a future athlete. My mom stated that it was strange that she called her this day because she would usually text her around this time due to the fact that my mother would usually be at work. A few days prior, she asked my mother about the school that Antoine attends, but my mother didn't think anything of it at the time. On this particular day, she asked her, "Are you sitting down?" In which my mom replied that she was. Good, because I need to tell you something and you don't have to tell anyone else, but Antoine's tuition is paid. With everything that y'all have going on, the last thing you and him need to worry about is his education, she stated. All my mom could do after hearing her say that was cry until they were both bawling on the phone together. My mom was going through a lot ever since his death, and she's never been the type to ask for help, so for her to voluntarily help just made my mother feel so grateful and overwhelmed. My mother later found out that she paid $1,900 for the entire school year. My mother has always been the type of person to show compassion to others. If she has it, then she definitely will help anyone who needs it. That is why this act of compassion was so important to her, because although she always helped others, it isn't often that the help is replicated. This was my first time hearing about this act of compassion that was shown towards my mother, and it honestly made me feel grateful and overwhelmed with joy. My mother has 3 kids, and she basically raised us all by herself. Despite her being a single mom, I never had to worry about my next meal or having a roof over my head because she always made it happen. When my brother's father passed away, it negatively affected my entire family. Not only did he lose his life, but he lost it to the violence in Baltimore. Nothing has ever been easy for my mom, but I know that this definitely was one of the most hurtful things that could have happened to her and my brother. I saw her cry many times after he died, and it hurt my heart because nobody ever wants to see their mother distraught or in pain. Knowing that there are still good people out there not only made me feel better, but it also inspired me. Hearing about her friend that paid my brother's tuition made me want to be like her. I would like to be someone in the world that helps others because I saw how much her kindness positively affected my mother, and I would like to have that same effect on others.
Wow. Well, thank you both. I'm so sorry for your loss. Of course it still hurts, and I'm very sorry.
Thank you.
So Dajae comes to you with this assignment, and how did you end up sharing this story, and did you hesitate before you did?
I didn't really hesitate, but it just took some thought because I had to think back over the last couple of months and really think to a time when compassion was showed to me. And this is the one thing that just stuck out. And again, it's not something that I told a lot of people because I didn't feel like I had to, you know what I mean? But if it was for assignment, I'm like, okay. So that's I'm like, okay, right. So that's when we had the conversation.
So, Dajae, would you be able to move to your right just a bit so that we make sure you're on camera? Okay, perfect. That's good. That's excellent. And so Dajae, like your mom shared a lot, and was any of this news or a surprise to you? Had you heard all of this before?
Actually, this was my first time finding out about it. I never knew about this story before.
Yeah. And so what went through your mind after you heard all of this?
When she told me, I think the first thing that I felt was grateful. I was because I know that, education is everything. And my mom has, always wanted us to get good grades. And I know that my brother being in the Catholic school is like very good for him. So to know that he had the opportunity to, be able to stay in a school that he was comfortable with due to the kindness of another person was pretty great to hear about.
Yeah. Natalie, I think you said a little earlier that is usually you're the one who's giving. So that's part of the reason it was hard to think about a story to tell. So yeah, what was it like to be on the receiving end of that kind of generosity?
I can't even explain it. 2019 was a heck of a year for us. My dad passed away. My mother had cancer for the 3rd time. So it was just a whole lot going on in 2019. And to lose him just a few months later was just a lot. Just a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person, regardless what I'm going through, you won't know it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't show it. I still remain positive, and I'm the one that actually uplift others because that's my purpose in life. I know that's my purpose. So to have someone to actually, just go above and beyond, it was amazing. It really, really was really amazing.
Yeah. Daje, had you and your mom talked about big things like this before?
I'm not sure. Really?
I mean, now what do you mean by big things like this?
A great question. To explain a bit more, so Daje, are you about 17 now?
I'm 18.
18, excuse me. I don't want to take anything from you, but there's a big gap in life experience between, say, a teenager and a parent, and it could be easy for conversation to be all about, did you do your homework? Day-to-day family stuff. It could be easy to keep things light. So I just wondered if you'd all ever had many occasions where you discuss some of the tougher stuff.
Oh, absolutely. So I believe in being open and honest. So regardless of what it is, we can talk about it. I wasn't a saint growing up. So, you know what I mean? I don't mind sharing those stories. And a lot of things that we do as a family. So for instance, in 2017, my mother had cancer the second time, and she had liver cancer. So we actually did a liver transplant. So this was a family decision because I was her donor. So I needed support on my side. My mother needed support on her side. So this was definitely something that I had to communicate to the kids, because I'm like, okay, we're about to undergo this surgery. This is what I need from you. This is how we're going to do this as a family. So yeah, we always talk for everything. It's important. Communication is very important.
Oh, wow. That's tremendous. And yeah, I think you see different preferences in different styles in different families, but yeah, obviously you all have a great line of communication. Well, so Daje, could you talk to me a bit about, you already mentioned this, but you had to make a decision about how you would relay the story, how you would write the story. And your initial thought was kind of first person, maybe to write it in the voice of your mom, but then you decided it might help if you had some of your own perspective. So could you talk me through your making those decisions and why you ended up going third person instead?
Well, to be honest, the reason why I decided to add in my own input is because I didn't have enough words. Because we did have to turn this in for my English class, and the minimum word count was 1,000, I believe.
Correct.
900 to 1,000. And so when I wrote just her part, it was only like 600 words. And I couldn't really add anything because I wanted it to be raw. I wanted it to be like straight from the source. So I was like, well, I don't have enough. So I decided, hey, I'm just adding my input, and it'll, make up the word count, and it'll also, relay how I felt about the situation. So.
Well, you did a wonderful job with it, but you were only in a position to write such great material because you were given such great material. So, well, this is fantastic. I'm gonna I'll post the essays on the Baldwin Prize website, and barring any technical difficulties, I'll also post these short interviews along with the essays, and you'll find out in a few days exactly where you placed. But I'm just so grateful that parents and students would open up for an assignment like this and share it with me and the Baldwin Prize and ultimately with other people. I think it's a very generous thing to do. So thank you both for everything you brought to this.
Thank you. And, I just want to say thanks again, because even though when she first came to me with the idea, I'm like, oh goodness, trying to really think of something, but it really helps her to be able to express how she feels, because you can't hold that information on the inside. So it's good for her as well.
Yeah. Well, excellent. This makes me feel great. So, all right, Daje, you will hear from me soon. And in the meantime, have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.